Turns out everyday habits in Japan, like carrying your own trash and leaving your shoes at the door, had so much to teach me about career strategy. And in case you're wondering, no, I did not go to Japan looking for career insights. I actually went there to have the trip of a lifetime with my older brother and my eldest daughter. We saw so many cherry blossoms. It was the height of cherry blossom season. We ate so much sushi and tokatsu don, and we also did a lot of castle hopping. But somewhere between the reverence of the amazing temples and getting hopelessly lost in the Shinjuku train station, there was so much construction, it was crazy. I started noticing these really cool everyday rituals in the country where my mother was born, and it had so much impact on me. Like how it's considered rude to talk on your phone in public, like how many shops don't even open until mid-morning. So today, I'm going to share 5 customs that made me stop in my tracks and think what they stirred up for me about work, boundaries, and what real career fulfillment might look like. Hi, everyone. I'm Laverne McKinnon, and welcome to the Moonshot Mentor community. If you're navigating a career transition, whether you're stepping up or shifting paths or starting over, you're in the right place. I'm a career strategist and a grief recovery specialist, and I really love helping ambitious professionals move through change with clarity, strategy, and a renewed sense of purpose. You don't have to figure it all out on your own. Let's open the door together to new possibilities, starting with these 5 customs from Japan. Okay, the first one is you are responsible for your garbage. There are no public trash cans in Japan. You carry your trash home because it's yours. And now, actually, if you tried to put your trash in someone else's trash, you would get fined. I mean, it's that serious. So it made me start to wonder, what would it look like to carry our own emotional trash at work? This sort of comes from an experience that I had with one of my clients. I'm going to call her Jane. She expected her boss to act like the kind of dad that she'd always wanted, someone who would remember her birthday, attend and liberally praise her improv show, and offer constant positive feedback. That wasn't his role. His job was to give her direction, clarity, expectations, and support her professional growth. Now, once Jane stopped outsourcing emotional validation to her boss, everything shifted for her. She actually felt more satisfied at work, not because her boss had changed, but because she stopped expecting him to fill a role he never signed up for. Careers can absolutely be meaningful, but when we expect our jobs to meet all of our emotional needs, inevitably disappointment is going to take the driver's seat, and it starts to shape how we show up. Now, the second custom is something that you may actually be familiar with. It's about taking your shoes off before you enter into a home or into a restaurant. And so it really means like you're not on a practical level bringing dirt and grime into your sacred space, your sacred living space, your sacred eating space. Now, this was a custom that I was really familiar with because I grew up with it. When my mom taught us from the very first moment we started wearing shoes, you always take them off before you enter into a house. I remember when I was a really little kid, I went to a friend's house and I took my shoes off, and then everyone literally stopped what they were doing and just like looked at me with like horror on their face. Like, what the heck is little Laverne doing? I was absolutely baffled when I had consciousness of why aren't they taking their shoes off? It was really like, I don't know, it felt disrespectful. Now, in Japan, taking your shoes off, it is respectful, and it marks a very clear boundary and a transition. You're actually crossing a threshold. So we don't always realize how much we need transitions. We rush from one thing to the next, and then we wonder why we feel wired, foggy, or drained. Creating a simple transition between meetings, tasks, or the start or end of your workday, it's a really powerful mental reset. It helps you shift gears, stay focused, and make space for actual rest, even if it's just for a few minutes. This reset is really critical to how my day just runs so much more smoothly and efficiently. Now, I like to start my workday by lighting a candle, and when I'm done for the day, I blow it out, and then I take a half-hour walk in my neighborhood. And since coming back from Japan, I've also been stepping outside for a breath of fresh air between my meetings. It's just for a minute or two, And I'm actually finding that it's helping me think more clearly, and I also feel more grounded. A ritual to mark transition, it doesn't have to be fancy. Lighting a candle, taking your shoes off, it just needs to signal this moment matters. Here's custom number 3. Everywhere I went in Japan, restaurants, shops, exhibitions, I was greeted when I arrived and I was thanked when I left. It's a really simple gesture, but it stuck with me. There's something so powerful about being acknowledged. Years ago, back in the US, I once worked at a place where the boss never said hello to anyone. There were no good mornings, no how are you, no acknowledgments, just critiques. The vibe was so bad. People shrank and hid in their offices, and they totally did whatever it took to avoid being seen. Acknowledging someone, especially by name, it builds trust, invites connection, and costs absolutely nothing. It signals you matter. And over time, it builds rapport and generates so much goodwill. Okay, this next custom is really fascinating to me. Japanese kitchens often have these very compact, small refrigerators, just enough for what's needed, nothing extra. It actually reminds me of my college dorm room and the teeny tiny refrigerator I had, mostly just for a little bit too much information here, but for beer and mixers for cocktails. And I don't even think I put water in my tiny fridge. But these tiny refrigerators, it made me think about how much we try to stock up in our careers. Networking events, certifications, courses, listening to endless podcasts, panels, committees. There always seems like there's just one more thing, just in case. And underneath that energetically, there's this really demanding belief. If I do more, I'll be safe. If I have more, I'll be successful. But does it really work that way? I don't know, I guess sometimes sure. But I found for myself, it just adds more clutter. So what if we simplified instead and we focused on just what's needed right now in this moment? What if we trusted ourselves to meet the moment rather than preparing for every possible outcome? Sometimes stocking up can be its own kind of avoidance. Now, the final custom is something that I referenced at the beginning of this talk. Most restaurants and shops in Japan don't open until 10 or 11 a.m. People eat breakfast at home. Now, this also includes places that serve breakfast food. Like I went to this pancake souffle place, which I don't recommend the pancake souffles in Japan, no matter how much you see them on Instagram. But anyway, that place didn't even open until 10 a.m. and actually it was 11 a.m. and they were serving breakfast food. The mornings in Japan, they feel spacious, like there's no pressure to prove anything right away. Back home in Los Angeles, it's so easy for me to roll out of bed and straight into someone else's agenda. I look at emails, a calendar, notifications, and from the jump, the day belongs to everything and everyone but me. Now, on my best days, I follow a very different rhythm. I wake up super early. I do my strength training, I meditate, I shower, I journal, I eat. And those first 2 hours, they aren't just a routine. They're actually kind of like a spiritual claiming of this is my life and I get to design it in the way that I want. So that morning routine, my ideal routine, it's not tactical, it is spiritual. And it's a way to remind myself that I'm in the driver's seat. Not my inbox, not my calendar, me. Okay, bottom line. I did not expect to come back from Japan thinking differently about work, but these small cultural details, the lack of trash cans, the morning rhythms, the ritual of taking off your shoes, they hold so much wisdom, and they reminded me that career strategy is not about striving harder or doing more. It's really about noticing what's already there and where you're honoring your values and where you're not. And for me, creating space, setting boundaries, those are important ways for me to help create the career and the life that I want. And so I want to encourage you to consider this as well, being more intentional with how you're moving through your days and who you're letting your days belong to. That is it for today. If you want more support to stay motivated, feel less alone, and move through career transition with strategy and purpose, come join me on my paid Substack community. You're going to get exclusive journal prompts, co-working sessions, guided meditations, live workshops, and a community of ambitious, purpose-driven professionals. You can go to Substack, Google Moonshot Mentor Substack or Laverne McKinnon Substack, and you're going to find me. You can become a paid subscriber. You can also be a free subscriber as well. There are lots of awesome things by being a free subscriber, and you'll also find links to all of my socials and how to work with me. I would be so remiss if I didn't say a very big thank you to Lynn Chen for the editing and social media management. Please follow her on @MsLynChen. And thank you for spending time with me today. Until next week, keep going after your moonshot.